With the first committee deadline looming, House committees were busy this week with full agendas and plenty of discussion on proposed legislation. The week began with a meeting of the House Subcommittee on Workplace Safety and Respect, which heard a proposal that would create an independent task force to study and recommend the best practices for reporting sexual misconduct by elected officials and staff who handle those reports, and improving sexual harassment training for lawmakers and staff. Minority Leader Melissa Hortman shared her proposal with members.
Whether it's reporters who cover us or lobbyists who seek to move legislation through these bodies, I think that if we had a task force of professionals that they could interact with, that we would get more frank and useful input on changes we might be able to make.
No action was taken on the proposal. After 2 years of government not buying into a proposal to house inmates at a vacant, privately owned prison in Appleton, Representative Tim Miller is proposing the state buy the facility. Miller sponsors House File 3106, which would appropriate $139 million in bond proceeds to purchase and improve the Prairie Correctional Facility.
In the end, this project is very clear and simple. The state of Minnesota, according to the Department of Corrections, has a prison population problem that is going to grow. Prairie Correctional Facilities can address that problem now and in the future when they need those services.
The 1,600-bed facility has sat vacant since 2010. Committee DFLers said the solution to Minnesota's overcrowded prisons shouldn't be more prisons, but emphasize their desire to spend the money before individuals get arrested.
Let's spend the money in front of the problem so that we don't put human beings behind bars needlessly.
The House State Government Finance Committee approved the bill Wednesday on a 9-5 party line roll call vote, sending it to the House Capital Investment Committee without recommendation. Governor Mark Dayton addressed the full legislature for the final time on Wednesday, speaking to the assembled group about his accomplishments over his tenure as governor and thanking the people who helped him get to this point.
As I prepare to leave office, I want to thank the people of Minnesota who twice voted for me to serve as their governor, and thank the legislators, supporters, and allies who helped us succeed.
Dayton touched on some goals he has for the rest of his term: clean water, more education funding, and expanded health insurance coverage, all familiar notes to anyone following his 8-year tenure as the state's chief executive. He concluded his speech with a desire to cast aside partisanship and work together for the people of Minnesota.
Look at what we accomplish by working together. Just imagine what more we can do if we continue.
Following the address, House Speaker Kurt Daudt reacted to the governor's speech and shared his thoughts on the state of the state.
From our perspective, the state of the state is good. It's very strong. Minnesotans are experiencing great effects from the tax relief passed in Washington, great effects from the tax relief passed by Republicans here in Minnesota last year. And as a result of that, our Minnesota budget now has a surplus. We've seen a $600 million turnaround from a deficit to a surplus because of that tax relief, because we invested in Minnesotans, and Minnesotans have invested back in our economy, and we think that's just an awesome thing. And we think we're going to make that a priority this session and in the future, making sure that we put Minnesotans first, working families first, and we know that that will also create a win-win for the state of Minnesota, and we'll see more revenue because of it.
Minority Leader Melissa Hortman also spoke to reporters following the speech and weighed in on a potential tax bill for this session.
How big a fight over taxes are you anticipating?
Well, I think that will be the bulk of the session's action. Can we find a compromise on federal tax conformity plus some changes to Minnesota law? I think we are all united. We can't do just conformity. We have to do conformity plus. And there's enough revenue created by the Trump tax bill that we should be able to do some tax cuts that Republicans favor and some tax cuts for Minnesotans that Democrats favor. So I hope we can get that done in the regular session.
Representative Nick Zerwass's House File 390 was once again before members of the House Public Safety and Security Policy and Finance Committee on Thursday. Zerwass's bill, as amended, would increase the penalty from a misdemeanor to a gross misdemeanor for someone who intentionally obstructs traffic that is entering, exiting, or on a freeway, or entering, exiting, or on a public roadway within the boundaries of an airport.
These criminal violations have significant impact and threats to health, life, and safety. They put officers, tow truck drivers, paramedics, and the general motoring public at great risk, along with unbelievable impact on individuals just trying to get to an airport, use a $1 billion train, or access the freeway.
Representative Jamie Becker Finn argued against the bill, saying protesting is a constitutional right.
You know, obviously we've debated this issue for a while now, and I believe that the right to protest is a constitutional right. It's part of being an American.
The committee approved the bill on a 9-6 party line roll call vote, sending it back to the House floor. For more information on the Minnesota House of Representatives, check out our session daily coverage on the House website, www.house.mn/sessiondaily.